often it's like the phrase has lost meaning because we're in the middle of like a big reorg that we're gonna go live at the start of the financial year, and then there's like a administration modernization program where we're basically moving over to like a whole new system, and they're using Go Live as well. It's dumb.
Okay, but are we live?
I'm
We
checking.
should be live.
Yes, there's a live box
Well,
in
sometimes
the
it
left
takes a
hand
while for YouTube
to sync it. That's true.
Yeah.
So I am checking now.
But we are live.
Oh, we are.
But we are.
Sweet. Thank you
We
for
are
checking, Rhea. Hello, everyone. Welcome to April's Stitch and Bitch. As you can see, we have the full complement here today. So let's just do some introductions and what we're crafting. So I'll kick us off. My name's Diana. This is my channel, Bookish Di. Lately, I've been reading a lot of nonfiction, and right now I am getting towards the end of this lace shawl.
Nice.
It's so pretty. That's gonna look
nice
so lovely when
color.
it's blocked.
Yeah, my grandma's claimed it, which is good because this is not my usual color palette.
Very pretty.
All right, Bree, why don't you go next?
Sure. Hey, I'm Bree. I have a channel over on YouTube that's mostly defunct. It's called Bree Reads Books, but you can find me all the time over on Instagram where I have the same thing. And today I am working on the Lodestar sweater, which is a pattern out of a pom-pom quarterly, and I put it down appropriately. I frogged it and put it down twice before deciding that I really did actually want to finish it. So
Nice. Kelsey with the amazing hat.
I'm Kelsey. I'm the Fancy Hat Lady who Reads. This was my Easter bonnet for this year's Easter Bonnet Parade here in New York. And I'm wearing it because my craft today is going to be undoing all of this. And I wanted to show it off first. This is all just sort of temporarily sewn and pinned onto my summer sun hat. And it is getting close enough. This past week was very warm. It's back to being cold and miserable again. But we are getting close enough to sun hat season where I actually need my sun hat. So the Easter bonnet needs to go goodbye, and I'll be able to use all this stuff again in the future. But I just wanted to show it off first. It's got feathers. It's got this giant rose, and then like the thing that I added at the end was these like twig branches with the gold trim wrapping them, which don't show up very well in any photos, but they look lovely in person, I think. So say goodbye to the Easter bonnet.
So I want to say before we say goodbye to the Easter bonnet, Kelsey in our group chat was sharing all like her construction for this, and she showed us the rose, and we didn't have any sense of scale for how big the rose was. So we were all like, oh yeah, add a second one, add a second.
yeah, we were like, you need more roses than just one rose, Kelsey. And then
I was sending them photos from the store of like all the stuff that looked inspiring to me.
Yeah, and then she had to be like, guys, no, here's a picture of it for scale. We were like, oh yeah, not like 4 roses.
It's like next to my head as I'm sitting on the subway carrying the thing in my arms because it was too big for the shopping tote I brought.
I will say though that it would be a huge statement if you went around the whole summer with the Easter bonnet like that this would be your summer hat.
It is too heavy for how hot it gets in New York in the summer. Like this is too much to wear in the summer.
Yeah, you would like lift it up and just sweat would come out.
Would pour out like a waterfall every time. Yeah. But yeah, that's Easter bonnet. I've got photos that I've posted on both Blue Sky and Mastodon of the Easter parade this year and my whole outfit. And I will also be posting them on Instagram at some point. But I just haven't posted it there yet. So if you want photos of the event exist. And I'm going to get my hat back by taking all of this stuff off of it. And the rose, so the rose is supposed to be like this wall hanging piece of art. It is a wall art with like a hook on the back so you can hang it on your wall. And so it is going to hang on my wall
Love
Until
that.
next year.
until next year or whenever I need to use it again for something, because it is going to be
Or maybe
completely
you could-
reusable.
Maybe you could do like a really fancy pumpkin carving for Halloween and utilize the rose in your pumpkin carving, like a hat
That
for the
would be
pumpkin.
lovely. If I
Oh,
do
yeah.
the good witch costume again, the like cottage core witch costume.
Okay, Kelsey, have you seen Over the Garden Wall?
Yes.
Okay, but it feels like it would be cute with a pumpkin Pottsfield outfit. That would be
Yes.
so cute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I have another hat to wear while I debonnet the Easter hat, and then
Kelsey, that is a lovely, lovely hat. But after your Easter bonnet, I feel like it's a
letdown?
It's
a
not
downgrade.
It's not
I'm
giving,
aware
it's
that
not
it's a
giving
downgrade,
enough
but I can't
oomph.
just wear no hat while I work on my craft. I've
Of
got my trusty seam ripper, and I'm going to try to carefully take all this out without damaging my sun hat, and we'll see how it goes. Do not be too sad. All of the parts on this are going to be saved for later reuse.
All right, Rhea, what about you?
Hi, I'm Rhea. My channel is The Bookfinch, where I post my share of the Stitch and Bitch live streams. And today I'm not crafting because my mind is all over the place, so you will just get to enjoy my wild takes on various things. And I normally read. For some reason, I was thinking about eating at the same time, so I was almost gonna say I eat fantasy, but I actually read fantasy, both
You can
in
eat
books
fantasy
and
too.
both in books and manga and comics, and also nonfiction.
All right, and last but not least, Rachel, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep, I'm Rachel. My also sort of defunct channel is Colonati, where I just do Stitch and Bitch live shows now. And I read a lot of science fiction, fantasy, nonfiction, manga. And today I'm not working on a real project. I'm trying to swatch with a very new to me yarn. So,
Ooh, what
Very-
is this yarn?
We have our first cat.
oh, hello.
What kind of yarn are you doing?
This is Barocco Tilly, which is a cotton.
Is it
I
a
think it's
cotton
like
linen
cotton,
blend?
cotton viscose yarn. It's
Yeah.
also a chain net yarn,
Ooh.
Huh.
which I've never worked with. Like,
I either really like them or I really don't.
yeah, this is. I'm also knitting something that's in like 50-50 linen cotton, and that is so hard on the hands. This feels incredibly different. So, long as I can get gauge for this summer top, I will be very happy.
Guy, is that Luke or Leia on your
This
lap?
is Miss Leia. Luke is sitting off to the side being a sook because his sister is in my lap.
Leia looks so dark. I mistook
think
her
it's-
for Luke.
I think it's just the lighting with this. I had to get some new bulbs for my lamp and it's not as bright. But
That
no,
makes sense.
this is Miss Chonk herself. All right,
So cute.
Mr. Rarsu wants to know: are any of us going to make the Project Harry pattern?
I have thought about it the way. Okay. Did anybody else, first of all, see that picture and be like, that's a Mary Maxim pattern right there?
No, I saw something on Ravelry that made me think it was like a vintage pattern though, and I was
It
like,
is.
"Dang."
It's a vintage 1980s Mary Maxim pattern
Oh.
that somebody must have like thrifted a sweater in their costume department because it looks like pretty worn. That Ryan Gosling wears in Project Hail Mary, and it like took over the internet. Obviously, all the knitting ladies went crazy for it.
Oh, is it
But
like a redo of the Knives Out? That was the previous movie craze where everyone was
that
making a sweater.
yes, yes. And this is like a bulky weight Intarsia 1980s wolf sweater, and it is pretty fabulous. Of course, he's wearing it on like a denim on denim outfit. I do not have that Mary Maxim pattern. I have thought about getting it. I actually have a curling pattern from Mary Maxim that's the same, it's the same construction with just like different patterning that I'm supposed to finish for my father-in-law first, so I should probably do that. But I also don't know that I could wear that and make it look as good as Ryan Gosling does.
Ryan Gosling is weird in that sense that I feel like he has the kind of aura that he can just wear anything. I mean, just the Barbie movie kind of showed that man can just be put in anything.
He's cute
And he'll make it
adorable,
work.
and he can pull off anything.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, like the fact that he can go from Ken to this is pretty good.
Yeah,
I have not seen Project Hail Mary yet because I'm very bad at movies, but
I've not seen it either yet. A few of my friends have, and they keep telling me that it's good. The only thing recently that I've seen related to the movie or book was Andy Weir's very off-kilter comments that he gave in some interview, and I'm like, dude, just
well, and people were like, okay, so this is gonna be a brief tangent. So people were like, oh well, it was just off the cuff. He wasn't thinking. I'm like, no, like bro, willingly went on Critical Drinker's show, and if you don't know who Critical Drinker is, like one, count your lucky stars, and two, he is a right-wing culture war grifter, and
Yeah.
he's been that way
since
for
Gamergate.
yeah, he's been that way for a decade at this point. So it's like,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not super surprised to hear that. Like I don't know much about Andy Weir, and he seems to be like relatively happy to keep his private life private, which totally fair. But like that doesn't seem super surprising to me.
No.
The thing is, like, I'm like the thing about going to specifically Critical Drinkers like a video pod or whatever is one thing, but I think it's very telling what he actually said in that. Like, for example, what struck me specifically, and what actually has now caused a little bit of a stir, because people have been seeing the movie and have been reading the book and have been reading Andy Weir's previous books, and now they found these comments that he made, for example, basically saying that he does not want people to view into his books as social commentary.
Yeah.
And I'm just
That's
thinking,
science fiction. What the hell?
yeah. And also specifically the type of science fiction, like even in the context of Project Hail Mary itself, the whole thing is a commentary on like science and how we conduct science, and like also how we interact with strangeness and like
Right. But also like
Right. The concept of authors who seemingly cannot tell that their own work is political, baffling.
It doesn't surprise me, because it just tells me like if you are, and I honestly, I don't think he said it maliciously. I think it is actually a belief that he holds, but that just tells me that, wow, you are living in
Privilege.
such a privileged position that you cannot even comprehend that like your work exists in a political sphere, because
I'm not surprised after all of the Martian stuff.
Yeah.
Not that it was ever like super, I don't know, crazy or anything like that around that, but like he just seems Yes, I think Renee is saying it entirely correctly. Andy Weir thinks nothing he does is political because he's a white man in a white supremacist patriarchy.
Yes.
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 That's like TLDR. That's what it is.
Uh-huh.
But like it's very interesting from my like because I sometimes like, especially when like something is popular, and I'm not saying like I'm some kind of a curmudgeon that like because something is popular I don't want to see it, but I get into that whole demand avoidance thing where if people are pushing me to do something or like view something, I'm like, well, now I don't want to do it. And the thing is,
Same. Big
yes,
same.
yes, and now it's like I didn't even have demand avoidance until Andy Weir opened his mouth and went to do this interview. And I'm like, okay, now I kind of like, I'm soured on watching this.
I still plan on seeing it, but I think I might have missed the window for it being open here in town. And I wanted to go see it with my brother this coming week, but apparently it's not opening in his area until the very, very end of the month. And I was like, what? What do you mean this movie is not going to be at the local really popular theater until the
That's
28th?
weird.
That
I
is
know, right?
It
The
is
thing is-
almost certainly showing in New York.
Yeah.
But movie distribution nowadays is like really weird because movies get pulled out of theater releases entirely.
Mhm.
I'm looking at you, Paramount,
Bride?
for pulling A Legend of Aang out of the theater release and going and secretly going to release it on streaming exclusively.
Aw.
Like, thank you for
Oh.
that.
I'm still hurting over The Bride not being in theater anymore, really. And so I can't go see it because it's so hard for me to get out to go to a movie. And that was the one that was on my list. I was like,
Yeah, I've been wanting to see that as well, and I was specifically waiting for it to be at a specific movie theater, and they don't show it, and I'm like, okay. It's
Well, did
it's
we-
like
Oh, go ahead.
It's like so stupid because like everything's on streaming nowadays. Nothing is an experience. And that's all I'm gonna say. I'm soured on streaming a bit.
Well, did we
Well,
want to talk
streaming,
about
my issue with streaming, well, never mind. I'm gonna shut up because I have many issues with streaming and I don't want to start.
Let's just
Guy,
go, see
go
some live
ahead.
theater.
I was just gonna say, if we wanted to switch it up and talk about like what we've been watching, because we're already talking about visual media, and that
Let's do that.
Let's
I
do
actually have
that.
things to talk about.
I also have things to talk about. I think me and Rachel may have the same thing to talk about. Because
right,
I just
We overlap significantly.
yeah. So let's do Bree, Kelsey, and me, and then we'll turn it over because I think I know what you guys are going to be talking about.
I don't think I have anything to talk about. You can skip me.
Bree, do you have anything to talk about?
okay, I have been watching my first K-drama.
which
It's-
one?
It's called My Roommate is a Gumiho, right? Where
Okay.
college girl winds up kind of stuck with this guy who is a nine-tailed fox. First off, hilarious because she just kind of trips into him, and then this soul stone, which they insist on calling a marble in the in the translation, pops into her mouth and she swallows it. It's ridiculous. We are like 12 hours into this story, right? Because each episode is like an hour, and it only gets more and more just a little obtuse while simultaneously being so chaste, just so chaste. I'm like, why? If this were an American show, they would have at least made out a couple times, right? Like, we'd have gotten real close to doing something and then like scattered. And they're like, I can't be in the same room as this person. I don't want to tarnish their reputation. I'm like, guys, just kiss. It's okay.
Are there
But
any
anyway-
dramas that are actually steamy on?
I would be
screen?
shocked.
I
don't think
would be
we-
shocked.
There are, but like so it really depends on the studio and also which network it aired originally in South Korea
fair.
on like
This-
on like how steamy it goes, but also even the spiciest shows are not really like they're not like nothing is HBO level spicy, you know.
right.
Unless it's like something like usually they're not like necessarily like and there's a level to how sexual things can get. Like usually, like for example, one of my favorite K dramas or like series is The Glory,
Mhm.
and like it has a lot of sexual connotations, and like mostly who is allowed to be sexual in that show are the villains.
Oh,
And
sure.
the main couple is very like they do not show, like obviously in terms of like character writing it wouldn't make sense for them either, but like they are very much like their goodness is shown also in their kind of purity, and
Yeah.
that's a case in a lot of shows.
It,
And there are some shows that like push the boundary on this a little bit, like oh my god, I can't remember. There's this one, it's on Netflix. There's this one K-drama where there's a romance between an actor and then a stunt woman, and the stunt woman is kind of like very a sexually liberated woman and stuff, but even that is very like they make out and they go to another room and it fades to black. Like the most thing you ever see is like someone getting pinned against a wall, they kiss, and then they go to another room, it fades to black. Next day it's morning, and there's an implication that stuff happened,
right.
but you
And
don't really see it.
This feels very, this won't make sense probably for you, Rhea, but it feels very ABC Family before they started showing like what would become freeform stuff, right? Like when ABC Family was just showing like Seventh Heaven, right?
Oh
It's
my god,
very bad.
I used to watch Seventh Heaven as a kid.
I-
Like our national broadcasting network was showing it, and that was the one series that that and Gilmore Girls were the two series that me and my mom watched together, because my mom gets very she changes the channel when people start kissing in TV shows. She can't handle it. Like she's just like, okay, and we're skipping, goodbye, next please.
yeah,
So
it's very that, right? Like, oh no. My mom is watching a couple of different ones, and I was like, at first I was like, my mom is watching K-dramas, and then I was like, actually, this makes a lot of sense.
Actually, my mom likes K-dramas. Like when she comes over, like I think it was like, was it 19, like 25 and 19 or something that I showed her.
Mhm.
And the next time she came over, can we watch that show that we started watching together? Like she gets really into them.
That's so cute.
That's cute.
But like it's very interesting because like this reminds me of that discourse about K-pop Demon Hunters, where like some fans specifically like in the North America and Europe were like complaining that Rumi does not kiss Jinu, spoilers. But
Yes.
like and the director basically came out saying like in an interview that the restraint is what makes it sexy or like sexier.
Well,
It-
yeah.
It's a little, I think it has a particular flavor in the US because purity culture was so strong in the 90s and aughts that like our generation is like, maybe just do it. Just kiss. It's okay. There's nothing sexy about the restraint, right? Where like I could see that being much more of an appeal in somewhere else. For me, it feels like I'm about to get a lecture, but that's okay.
I mean, understandable. I also don't want to like, because like obviously I'm not Korean, if you
Yeah.
can't tell. So I won't like comment on the sexual politics of Korean shows, but I will say that there's a lot of limitations what can be shown on like
Yes.
like public networks that are not like cable.
Yeah, it's very clearly like a cultural and in some cases, I'm sure a legal like distinction there.
but it's like very interesting, like for me when I first started, like I kind of fall very much in, like, because like on the one hand there's like Korean shows which are very, as you said, like chaste, and like they're more like romantic and sexual connection is implied rather than explicitly
Yeah.
shown. And then there's like the American shows that I've watched that are like very weird about sex, where it's like any kind of nudity is like considered like sexual, or like there's a weird focus on it. And then for me as a Finnish person, I've grown up with non-sexual full frontal nudity in public TV shows like daytime soaps, and it just happens. Like you see naked people and it's normal and nobody bats an eye. So like in that sense it's very interesting, like these two different flavors of like pop culture, where I'm like, yeah, this scrutiny over people's bodies, like in like how like they are shown on TV and how people react to like nudity or kissing or like these kinds of things, like it just feels very strange to me.
I can understand that. I think that is probably an entirely fair and accurate assessment that, like, wow, you guys are a little weird about this.
Yeah, like I feel like there's no body neutrality.
No.
I feel like that was the biggest culture shock for me, is like in like both of these contexts, I should say, not culture, context, I should say, there's no body neutrality. Either the body is like objectified to a place where it's like, okay, this is gross, or it's like covered and desexualized to a point where it's like, okay, now we're at the other kind of
gross
end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of TV with my parents, which influences the viewing experience depending on the subject matter. And my dad always seems to make a point of, when the next episode comes up, he'll read out like, you know, this has got warnings for like nudity or something in it. And, and I'm always like, you know, based on the shows that we watch, it's not the fun kind of nudity, right? Like you know that this is just like a warning for American audiences, because we end up watching a lot of European stuff. Like one of our favorite shows
yeah
to watch together is a French show, and there will be things in there, but there's also entire storylines where the main female character is extremely sexual and open about her relationship and has an abortion on screen, you know. And then of course we're watching The Pit together, which is when we all look at it and say, nudity, not going to be the fun kind of nudity, because they might be dead.
In a lot of Finnish shows, a lot of like, especially like I grew up watching this Finnish soap opera, which is very, well, I guess the closest equivalent would be like maybe Bold and the Beautiful, but no one's rich and living in the mansion. They're like living in this apartment building. Everyone owns a different apartment in that same building complex, and for some reason all the neighbors are in each other's business, which is very weird from a Finnish standpoint. Like that, like the most biggest suspension of disbelief is that every one of these people is talking to each other daily. But like most of that shows, like in every episode there's a scene where they go to the public sauna and like hash out their relationship troubles together in like the sauna, and you're just like, yes, this is how it's done.
Let's just get naked and talk about our feelings, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anything else you're watching, Brie?
No, that's the big one. But you know, that is what it is. What am I doing here? Oh no. What am I doing?
Did we confuse you? Did you mix up your pattern?
Here's what happened. Like I said, I have left this pattern down for like 2 or 3 months, and I've picked it back up, and so it's just not quite as like smooth as it normally would be for me to just pick it back up. But that's okay, because I am determined to get this sweater done. It will not be done, obviously, in time for sweater weather, because despite the fact that it is 33 outside, so basically freezing, it's going to be 80 later this week. So.
Well, there's sweater weather next year. Actually, even this year, there's sweater weather coming right around the corner in a few months.
Yes, this will be really lovely for some like September sweater. But
given the way that the weather patterns have gone pretty much everywhere in the spring, you might have snow next week.
Oh, we had snow this morning.
There you go. You might be able to wear it on just random days.
I'm actually very surprised we have not had an influx of snow yet. Because we've had so much sun, all the snow has practically melted, the ice has broken, like the sea is
yep.
Like ice has melted. I'm expecting that like bars have opened the terrace season, and I remember, was it last year or the year before, the bars had opened the terrace season. People were already like on the terrace drinking beers, and then a week later it just like snowed and people were in the snow in the terrace drinking beers. Like, terrace season is open, bitch, we're not like going anywhere, like it's like we won't go indoors, it's terrace season now.
It's patio season in Minnesota officially, but we leave out patio heaters for the first like month of patio season, so that if it does happen, you're also not cold.
Doesn't that mean you're heating the outdoors?
Yeah,
no, they're like space heaters. They're not.
Yeah, they're like space heaters, but think about it more like it's a safer version of having a bonfire.
Okay, but it sounds like you're trying to heat an infinite space.
No, I mean, the way it's designed is like they're for specific. It doesn't have a big radiating.
No.
Okay.
Contained.
I don't think anyone here uses a space heater out,
oh my gosh,
like, on the decks.
I don't think I've ever heard of this before either.
People just bundle in a blanket or something and call it a day.
In the Pacific Northwest, just because like especially during COVID, restaurants would invest in them because they would do patios, and that way people could eat outside.
Yeah, I'm dropping a link in our behind the scenes chat so that you guys can see. Also, Rhea, maybe you could have one shipped to your parents' house. They could be the bougiest people on the block.
Okay, so Bree, is that everything for you?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay,
somebody else go.
And then we can turn it over to Rachel and Rhea. I've mostly been watching The Pitt. I watched the season finale on Thursday, and I definitely I have some quibbles with it, but overall I really enjoyed this season. I was very stressed in a different way than in season 1, because like season 1 had the big mass casualty incident, but like season 2, it was just like watching multiple people have like one of the worst days of their lives. And that
Samira. Oh my God.
And like that just made me so stressed for them. Like I kept being like, okay, this person is going to end up on the roof at the end of the episode. Oh no, this person is also going to be on the roof at the end of the season. But I really enjoyed the mid-credits scene, because one of the running things about the joke about The Pitt is like they'll have this like scene and then it'll cut and then it'll be like soft music in the credits and everyone's like, oh my God, the credits. And then for the season finale, there was a mid-credit scene that was really good.
I missed that.
You need to go rewatch then.
You need to watch, because it is perfect. It is the perfect way to end the season.
Damn, I wish I had known that last night.
You could probably like just find it on YouTube. It's been floating around social media.
Well, once again, watched with my parents. I will force them to pull it up and we will watch the mid-scene credits together. But anyway.
But yeah, other than that, I haven't been watching a lot of TV. I did watch a couple of random HBO movies. I watched Too Big to Fail, which is about the 2008 banking crisis. And that was like a series of like Leo pointing like, oh, I recognize that person. Oh, I recognize that person. So it was nice to watch like a classic HBO. We're just gonna cast all A-listers movie. Although whoever did Cynthia Nixon's wig needed to be fired. It was awful. It was like she had a helmet on her head.
In 2008, I actually, never mind. I can't remember what the hair in 2008 was like, except everyone was wearing blonde highlights.
Because this movie was from, I think, 2011. It was like several years after the crisis. But like,
still pretty fresh.
Yeah, but like the wig was awful. The wig was like, I sent it to my friend Kay, who like has very deep feelings about Hollywood wigs, and she was like, what the fuck was that?
I feel like now, what's the movie called? I feel like I need to look this up.
Too Big to Fail. And then the other random HBO movie I watched was a old one. It's from the early 90s, but it's And the Band Played On, so it's there.
Oh my god.
Oh, did you see the wig?
Is this the... It's a brown bob, right?
Yes.
Oh.
You see what I'm talking about.
I feel like I feel like this needs to be... I will share my screen because it's...
Do I need to give you permission?
I think so.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, no, go back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
the wig.
That's
Huh.
the hard front is hard fronting, and you can see where the wig cap is basically where they centered the like. Oh.
Yeah, it's real bad, and she's like the only prominent female character, so
Of course.
It's like they... You know what that wig reminds me of? So I used to be very big into collecting ball jointed dolls, especially the
oh my God,
Korean
it is
dolls.
Like
And that
doll hair.
Yeah, and that wig was all the rage for all of the people like getting the Korean boy dolls and doing like idol like it was the K-pop idol bob that everyone was putting on their dolls. That wig is giving me flashbacks to that. I think I also had a wig like that for one of my dolls.
Yeah, so I watched that, and then I watched And the Band Played On, which is HBO's adaptation of Randy Schultz's book, And the Band Played On, and that was very good. It was also another instance of, oh, I recognize that actor. Oh, because like Ian McKellen, bless his heart, trying to do an American accent. It was not, his American accent was not good, but he was playing a gay man who worked as a congressional aide, who was one of like the people really pushing behind the scenes in Washington to try and get funding and research. And then Saul Rubinek was in it as like someone at the CDC. So it was like, oh, I'm so used to you being old and having a goatee. This is so weird.
I don't know why, but it gives me great comfort that Ian McKellen is not good at something.
Yeah,
like I feel it like
A little vindicated.
yeah, it feels like he's more human in my eyes now. Like, you know, because I'm so used to like Ian McKellen is like Magneto and Gandalf and all of these like larger than life things. He's literal death. And Richard III, like he's very bombastic. It makes me it makes me somewhat happy that he can't pull off an American accent.
Yeah, I feel like it was one of his first big like American TV roles. I think most of what he had done in the past was in the UK. But yeah, so he was in it. Phil Collins is randomly in it as the owner of a gay bathhouse who's mad about them
Nice.
trying to shut it down. Lily Tomlin is in it, and she's fantastic.
That doesn't surprise me that she's great.
Young BD Wong was in it as well as
What?
Anakin's boyfriend.
BD Wong was great in Mr. Robot. I really enjoyed him in Mr. Robot.
Alan Alda was also in it as the as Dr. Robert Gallo, who the film accurately portrayed as an asshole. So like for
Wow.
folks who like haven't read about the early days of the AIDS crisis, he like almost stopped research because he was beefing with the French team that was also
Yep.
researching HIV. Like he's an asshole, and the movie like accurately depicted him as an asshole.
I feel like Di, we read the same book about the AIDS crisis because like you read it first and then I read it because you had talked about it on stream. But that book really changed my perception about how these kinds of large scale like outbreaks and pandemics have like it's so much political theater and just like a dick waving contest,
Yeah.
but like with people with academic credentials.
Yep. But that's what I've been watching. I do plan on catching up on the new Star Wars animated show, but Maul is like not one of my top characters, so I haven't been like super invested in watching.
Well, and this is also not going to be the version of Maul that has spider web like legs and like 1,000 arms.
Yeah, and the thing is too, because like I feel like with Maul, he works better for me when he's not the main thrust of the story.
Well, yeah, he's a decent side character, right? It's like tossing a little bit of like chili pepper flakes in, right? But you don't
Yeah.
want a whole mouth of chili pepper flakes.
Yeah.
Probably.
I remember back as a 12, 13-year-old, I had a huge crush on Darth Maul because he could do cartwheels and stuff.
He could. You know, it's the same guy who plays Toad in the X-Men movies.
Yes, I like Ray Park. I had a like a obsessive hyperfixation on everything. Like I've watched probably everything Ray Park was in at some point because I was just like, that's
I
the
love
guy.
this for you. I love
He does
that
all
for
the
you, though.
flips.
He did do all the flips.
Yeah, I remember. So the guy who voices Maul in the TV series, Sam Witwer, I remember when he was announced, I'm like, Crashdown? Him? Because I was familiar with him from Battlestar Galactica. And then he was also in Smallville, which I didn't watch, but I knew he was, I think, Doomsday in Smallville.
I used to watch Smallville, and then it got tainted posthumously by the Nixium cult.
Yeah, that's oof.
Yeah. All right, so that is it for me. So I will turn it over to Ray and Rachel to talk about, I assume, Witchat Atelier.
Yes, I
Okay,
just
so-
watched all 3 episodes that have come out this weekend, and first things, eye candy, like
So pretty.
it's so pretty, and I love that every single episode has these moments where the part of the animation is done like a pop-up book. So
yes.
So the episodes close out with a kind of pop-up book image of the like how the episode ends, and then a kind of theme for next episode is also like at the intro is kind of like here we continue like as a pop-up book like intro. It's like super cool. I remember like 2 years ago when they first started floating around the idea that Witch Hat Atelier is gonna be an anime, and it was going to be animated by the same studio that did 100, like the zombie apocalypse movie, where basically there's that guy who like basically has worked himself to the ground in that series, and then a zombie apocalypse hits, so he basically does a bucket list of 100 items that he's gonna accomplish to improve his life and quality of life, because now he's free to do whatever, because he doesn't have to go to work, he just has to survive the zombie apocalypse.
And that's easier.
Yeah, basically. So he can actually dedicate like to like have a nice life. But there were a lot of issues with that show, because like the studio that was making it's the same studio that is doing Witch Hat Atelier. Like, it was one of their first projects. It was not properly advertised. They had to go on hiatuses at times, and basically the series is still kind of unfinished. So people were very worried that, oh no, is this going to happen to Witch Hat Atelier? So there was a lot of rumblings of like, oh no, is it like this studio, like this is not a good sign. But having seen now the first 3 episodes, it looks amazing. Like this is exactly the level of animation that I wanted for this series, considering like how huge the art is. Like in Witch Hat Atelier, the art is such a huge focus. So I'm
The
so
art
happy.
makes it like visually,
Yes.
like it's not Witch Hat Atelier if you don't have that art style.
Where's it streaming right now?
Crunchyroll, and in the North America, it's also on Netflix, but it's geo-blocked. So if you're in Europe, no Netflix for you.
Well, that's good that it's on Netflix, because I didn't want to get another streaming service.
Yeah, they're doing simultaneous release on both Crunchyroll and Netflix. It's the same for Dorohedoro as well. Dorohedoro is streaming both on Crunchyroll and Netflix, and that's not geo-blocked, because I'm watching Dorohedoro as well. And with Dorohedoro, I made the mistake of like, I don't have, like, it's been like almost, like, it's been 5 years since the first season came out.
Are you sure it's on Netflix in the US? Because I don't see it when I look for it on there.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm just gonna
At least that's what like, because when I search for Witch Hat Atelier, it shows it, but it does not allow me to look at it because it's geo restricted.
Mm-hmm.
It won't even show it to me when I search for it on Netflix.
It's showing.
It shows Crunchyroll when I search online first, and then I don't see it for Netflix.
Okay, because there was a lot of like news also that it was going to be simultaneously released by Netflix and Crunchyroll.
Parts of the or if it's
could be Canada or like South America, or like it could be.
I could see.
geo-restricted.
Yeah, I don't think it's on American Netflix.
It says you can have it. You can watch it through a YouTube TV subscription.
Absolutely not.
But
I'm already subscribing to too many. I refuse to subscribe to anything else.
And then there is a thing that's coming up with Netflix, but it's like pretty far down, so I don't know if it's actually on there.
Netflix will show it even if it's not in Google results, even if it's not available in your region.
I will be very happy when it releases on Blu-ray, because this might be the first anime in like since Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood that I will purchase for myself. But Dorohedoro is the second one that I've been watching, and it's funny because like it's from Mappa, and the first season was released in 2021, if I remember correctly. So it's been a while, and I optimistically was like, I don't need to catch up on first season. I can just go cold. And the first 2 episodes of Dorohedoro, I was just like Gandalf in that I have no memory of this place. Like I was just trying to like hold on for dear life because that show is super weird. And there was no recap or anything. It just goes straight like okay, we're continuing where we left off, and I'm just there 2 episodes. Like I'm struggling. I'm
I
struggling
feel
so
like
much.
that was my experience watching the latest Jujutsu Kaisen series, because I didn't rewatch anything before getting into it, and they didn't recap anything either. It was just like, hi,
Yeah.
who
With
are all these people again?
with Jujutsu Kaisen season 3, I actually laughed so much in that scene where they explain the rules of the culling game, and it feels like the studio was just like, we're not even getting into this, and they just show the screen of like the whole essay of text.
I was like, did they just throw in the towel and say, there are parts of this we're not even going to try to animate, we're just going to slap the wall of text on the screen for a blink and you miss it, and then get on with the action?
Like, I had to pause it to read it, and I have read the manga, so I knew what the rules were. It was just like, might as well. But it was basically just like an essay on your screen, and they're like. But to be fair, they do re-explain the relevant rules.
Yeah, like
you
they
get
will
to the
go
battles.
over the rules and how they're modifying the rules so much, and like the voiceovers and stuff. It's like, I don't need to read that. I'm just here for the vibes, man.
Yeah. But yeah, like Witch Hat Atelier has been great so far. I think the next episode is out tomorrow because it's like on a Monday release.
Do you know?
And it's so beautiful.
Do you know how far in the manga season 1 of the anime is going to get?
At least until volume 5, I think, because at least the first. But I don't actually know how many episodes have been commissioned. So if it's gonna be 13 or 26 episodes. But
I am now reading volume 6, and I want to know if like.
So it will cover the, because based on the opening credits, it will cover at least the first trial that the apprentices of Grifri take. Because Alira and oh my god, I can't remember his name. The boy witch.
Yeah, him.
Are
I'm past that in the manga.
Yeah. So until then, at least, and it will show they will meet Easties, because he is also like the witch's order is also in the opening credits. But I have a feeling that this might be a 26er, so there might be like an opening 1, and then in the middle of the season it turns into an opening 2, so there will be more characters.
I think I'm gonna wait to see how far it goes. Have you tell me how far I need to read before I start to watch it. Because my issue with this series is that I'm reading it too slowly and I'm forgetting things between volumes. So like I need to watch the anime to get the refresher so then I can keep reading the manga. That's where I am right now. But I want to be reading the manga first before. So I need to know how far I need to push myself to read and then stop.
I'm checking my anime list to see how many episodes there are. So it looks like it's going to be a 13 episodes this season, and we are in episode 3, and they just did the Dada range trial, so it's pretty early on. So I think it won't reach 6 volumes.
Okay, so I will stop after volume 6. I will wait for season 1 to be out, and I will watch all of season 1, and then I will read volume 7. Because I am struggling here because I am forgetting things between every volume I pick up. And it always picks up. I'm like, oh, I thought I remembered what just happened, and I do not.
But I will be very happy when you watch it, because I was so like, it's basically everything that I've been wishing from an adaptation. Like it's so good. Like it's like elevating it in ways that I was not expecting, especially with the pop-up stuff. But yeah, that's what I've been watching. Rachel, do you want to expand?
So since our last live show, I finally finished season 3 of Foundation. So I'm all caught up with Foundation. Really weird season 3, like some bizarre and fun stuff happened, but also I was watching with a friend and we were both like, what is the point of the season? Like, what is the overall story arc? And then we got to the final episode and went, damn, I hope there isn't a time jump this time. Tell us what happens to these current generation of Empire, you know? So
Was
it was
in-
enjoyable.
Was it in season 2 or season 3 where the naked fight happens?
That was season 2. That was
Okay.
the naked fight with the version of Day who is also in a very special relationship with his mother figure, and that was weird. And ick. Anyway. Also, there's a big thing that happens at the final episode of season 3 that made me go like, oh, I need to see if a certain actor is coming back for season 4, because that will tell me a lot of what might be going on with like the robots or whatever. So yes, it was very fun. But season 3 is where Day is basically like the Big Lebowski character.
What?
Haven't you seen this?
I have not seen like Foundation since I watched season 2, so I have not seen
For some
anything
reason
of
I thought
season
you'd seen
3.
season 3.
No. I don't have Amazon Prime, and
I feel like they switched up all of the temperaments of the 3 Empire characters. So you have the youngest, the middle, and the oldest, Dawn, Day, and Dusk. And in this one, Day, who is usually the very on top of things military focused person or whatever, he's high and wandering around in, you know, a towel most of the time with his hot drug provider girlfriend, and just being like, dude, I want to abdicate and get out of here and marry my girlfriend and do drugs.
this is not the girlfriend who's the mother figure.
No, completely new character.
Okay.
And Dusk is like, instead of being the more level-headed older version, he's like sad and moping, but also angry and does terrible shit. And Dawn, who's the baby, is like actually doing important things. I hope there is not a time jump, because I want to see what happens with him. Anyway.
Interesting.
So I was very happy by the final episode. I really want season 4. Probably not going to happen until next year, I suppose. But yeah. I also finished The Pit season 2. Don't have much more to add than what Dai said, but it was a ride, and everyone was having a terrible day. And you know, I like Robbie. He's basically the main character, but I feel like the last couple of episodes were just me getting mad at him for losing it and being mean to people and not admitting he has a problem. So finished that and watched Witch Atelier, of course, and also How to Get to Heaven from Belfast.
Oh yes, that's true. I also finished How to Get to Heaven from Belfast.
I binged so hard.
I started watching it on like the long Friday in Easter, and I finished it the next morning.
Yeah,
it's from the same creator as Derry Girls. So
yeah, I finished a couple days after you. And yeah. Is it the same creator or same writer? Or I didn't look this up, other than it has a
same writer and like showrunner, because the writer of Derry Girls was also the showrunner.
So basically like Derry Girls, but grown up from Belfast, and it's a crime thriller.
It's really good.
It's
It's like
bonkers.
eight episodes if I remember correctly.
Yes, it is.
And it's a little bit like open-ended, so it could lead to a spin-off or like a next season, but I actually hope that it's just a self-contained story.
I
I liked it.
I want more in that world, like whatever it is, but a different story. You know, maybe even different characters, but to be back there. So yes, it's highly addictive, funny, and if you really liked some of the character types from Dairy Girls, it's like that, but imagine they're in their late 30s and having a meltdown about marriage and children and wrecking their cars and who killed my best friend from high school, sort of thing.
There's there's also very many actors who were in Dairy Girls that are doing like different character roles in this series.
Yes. Which I have thoughts about. I can never remember her name, the actress who plays Claire from Dairy Girls, right?
Nicola Collin?
No. Wait.
Different
not
character. Who's the one who has the diary?
Yes, the blonde girl with the diary, who's kind of the main character of Dairy Girls.
Siobhan. I think that's the actress's.
I'm looking this up.
Because she plays Erin on Dairy Girls.
Yeah, Erin is the character. Yeah, Erin is the character. But yeah,
Saoirse Monica Jackson. Yes. Yeah. So she does have a role in this show, and talk about completely different from the Erin character from Dairy Girls. Not my favorite character, but it was highly entertaining to just see her go ham with that.
Yeah. A lot of characters go ham in this. It's also very interesting. Or do you still want to talk about?
No, I don't have many more thoughts on it than that.
Because I realized that I watched some early 2000s shows for fun and like movies. And I have thoughts. I watched 27 Dresses with Katherine Heigl and James Marsden. Yes.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know if I wanted to punish myself or what, because that's not a good movie.
It's not.
It's so bad.
And it's very of its time.
It's very of its time, but it put me into a rabbit hole because I watched that, and then I watched like a few episodes of Younger, of all things. These are all on Netflix, where the 40-year-old woman lies about her age to get a job at marketing as an intern.
Was that the one with Sutton Foster in it?
Yeah. Right. And watching this all has that thing. I realized how pervasive early 2000 shows and movies were about connections to Israel, because there's an Israeli character in all of these in all of these movies and all of these shows, and it was weird. It's like it was weird watching it, because like, especially now, like with all the knowledge of what's been happening in like the past 3 years and the past 80 years, and you're kind of like, holy shit. It's this, like, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Did we want to switch to talking about books?
Yes.
Bree, did you want to go first?
Sure. I have two things that I'm working through. One is Hemlock and Silver by T. Kingfisher, which I'm super excited about. It's another one of her stories that's like, one, based around poison, and two, where the protagonist is an older single woman who like isn't conventionally attractive, which I just love. It's so refreshing, to be honest. And then I am listening to an audiobook. Let me pull it up here. It's not actually it's not actually fantasy. It's called We Solve Murders by Richard Osman. And it's kind of a mystery meets comedy, where a bodyguard for celebrities is being framed for murders, and she has to call in her like grumpy British like father-in-law who's a former cop to come help her, and now they're flying around the world with like the closest equivalent I can think of is like, what if Kate Mulgrew used to be a pinup? And it's pretty great so far. Like, I'm having a fun time with it. I can't promise that it stays great, but like I'm enjoying it. It's been great for when I'm gardening and clearing out all of the debris from the yard.
Nice. Kelsey, did you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I am having this weird reading situation where I'm reading like 4 books at once, and so none of them are getting finished. I did finish the 2 books I was in the middle of last time we spoke, which were A Forgery of Fate by Elizabeth Lim, which continued to be fine, but like kind of unremarkable YA fantasy. And then Notes from a Regicide, which is really good.
Yes.
It is like a downer emotionally, which is why it took me so long to read, because it's sad. But it is so well written, and it is like it kind of a bit of a gut punch of a book, and it's so like personal, and the way it weaves together these 2 timelines, the sort of timeline of our narrator growing up with these people who become his adoptive parents, and then also the flashback timeline through the diary memoir of what happened with the failed revolution. It is a lot, and it is so good. So yeah, I would not have read that without Di on this stream highly recommending it. So I'm gonna just continue to pass on that recommendation to others, because I feel like it's one of those books that didn't get like a big hype around its release, but I feel like everyone I know who's read it has read it because someone has been like, this book, you must read it. So
I
We
mean,
will build
I
our
still want to
downline.
read it. I still want to read it based on Di's recommendation and now yours.
I was so happy to see that it got on the Locust top 10 for sci-fi. Like, that made me
Yes.
really happy.
Yes. And then so I finished both of those books, and then all of the books that I am currently reading, I mentioned volume 6 of Witch Hat Atelier. I should just sit down and finish reading this today. And then I made note last month that I was reading Saint Death's Herald by C.S.E. Cooney, which is the sequel to Saint Death's Daughter, and I was putting it aside because I didn't think it was going to be good enough to make my Hugo ballot. I am back into reading it. I am having fun with it, but it is so far still not as good as the first book. Where was I? I was like 30% into it last time, because I'm reading it on ebook, and I'm now at like 60%. So I will have more thoughts on that when I actually finish it. And then I am reading the first book in this bind up, which is The Element of Fire, which was Martha Wells's debut novel.
Oh.
And it is like a relatively unremarkable but fun fantasy novel.
I was just thinking that it must be interesting for you because you've read the Raksura, you've read the Witch King series, and also Murderbot, and to go back to Martha Wells's like origin story, kind of like the debut.
Yeah, I'm
she
going
must
all
be a
the way back to the
completely
beginning.
different writer now.
The thing that is most underdeveloped, I think, in this book is the world building, which is kind of her signature later on in her career, is that she does spectacular, vivid world building. And this does not have that. This is a pretty generic, like, Flintlock fantasy world that also has some like moderately generic, you know, evil, dangerous fae stuff going on. But I think you can still tell that it's her from like kind of the way she writes characters and the way she writes action. It's just, you know, I'm enjoying it, but as sort of lighter fluff reading. And then I also have from the library, I've started reading The Wolf and His King by Finn Longman, which is a retelling of like a medieval werewolf story that I have no familiarity with. So I'm going in with no expectations of where this story is going. But this book it came to me from the library with the dust jacket on upside down. So this is how I'm reading it. And so I've got, like, when I'm holding it up like this, my bookmark is sticking out of the bottom.
You probably look like a kook on the train.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
It on the train. Like, I can't. The reason I'm not done with this book is because I can't bring it anywhere. I have to read it at home because I cannot. I cannot.
You know how that there's that
in public.
You know how there's that whole like trend of like the performative male reader. They actually had like a protest in Helsinki this past week where they hosted the Finland Championships for Performative Reading as a protest for the University of Helsinki basically cutting the rental contract for one of the bigger independent bookstores. Anyway, there was that whole thing. But I was just thinking, like, you reading in a coffee shop or train, the book upside down.
I will let them know when I return the book that they have done this. And hopefully it will be fixed for the next person. But like, it is a stunningly gorgeous book. It's got the like a whole wraparound art. It's got the sprayed edges which go this way, not this way. And it has beautiful end pages. And it's just like beautifully stunning. And I would love to show off, you know, that I'm reading it in public because it's so pretty, and yet I cannot. So that's what I'm reading right now. Hopefully I'll finish some of it by next month.
Rachel, what about you?
Sorry, I was counting. I have read almost nothing since the last live show. I finished 2 of the books that I was in the middle of last time. So I finished Stargazy Pie by Victoria Goddard.
Oh, you finished Stargazy Pie?
I did finish it, yes.
We should discuss.
I have to say, like, I enjoyed it, but then I jumped right over to reading another really short, like, novelette in the Lays of the Hearthfire series, and it's Fanny, the costumier, basically the clothes person. Mm-hmm. And for some reason that stuck in my head more, maybe because it actually, her thought process in that sheds a bit more light on the relationship between Kip and the Emperor and what people actually think is going on. And that I was like, wait a minute, I wish I had known this before I read that entire book. But anyway, yeah, Stargazy pie with the herring pie, which that's such a big clue. Oh my god. I got to the end of the book and was like, oh. Oh, okay.
The thing about that book, having read the next two, is that it drops so much on you, and Gemmis, the protagonist, does not have any of it figured out by the end of the book.
No.
And so if you're reading as I did that book on its own and then waiting to continue on with the series, you got nothing at the end of that book. Like, what was any of this about?
Yeah. So like I was really glad that I like for world building and some of the history of the world, I was
And
really
I
glad
was
I read
especially
other things
lost
first.
because I hadn't read anything else in that
Yeah.
world yet. And I was like, oh no, I need a map. Give me a map.
Yeah.
I need a map for this book that takes place in one small town. I need a map of the entire continent, please.
Yes, and the other worlds and Astandalus is what exactly? Like, yeah,
Exactly. And how do you get that? I am still not sure how travel between worlds happens post-fall.
no clue.
No
No
clue.
clue.
I've read 4 books in this, 4 novels in this universe, plus some short fiction. No clue how people are traveling between worlds.
Given the way that some of it is described, especially like right after the fall, I'm not sure that anybody knows unless they're like,
Ambassadors are getting there. Like
I
there
know,
is
but
some people are getting through, but the main roads are all down. Because like in Beast and Cake, the second book, you learn how the roads used to work.
oh,
Wait.
That do not work anymore. But we don't know how people are actually doing this travel anymore.
Wait.
there's a lot of airship travel, which I feel like skips over a lot of stuff in the other books. Like you could just get on an airship and go somewhere, and we can be very vague about it.
I don't think there are airships in Alinor, because Stargazy Pie takes place in Alinor, which is like the European-ish world in this multiverse.
I think one of them is supposed to be kind of Earth, like our world.
Right, but I haven't read anything that takes place there, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't think it's this one. Anyway.
No, and
there's books called Beasting Cake and Stargazy Pie. Are all of them food themed in some way?
Well, Plum Duff sounds like it probably
I think
is.
most of them are. I don't know about the 3 that I've read are, and then the next one is Blackcurrant Fool. So yes, that one is. And then Love in a Mist is the one where I don't know if that's a food in the context of the book or not.
It's a flower. I'm gonna guess that somebody's about to tell us that it's actually like some fancy dessert or something.
Edible aphrodisiac.
Which is would totally fit into this world.
What?
I did get to the big what is it, like bastard decadent era dinner party thing. I was just like, WTF. Like they're in a town, they're in an area where like being polite and courteous and only calling people by their last name is absolutely recommended. And then you have these same people going to a dinner party where it's like, we're taking bets on whether there's going to be a post-dessert orgy or not.
Well,
but
you don't have
there
to
isn't,
know.
by the way. Everyone's just
To be
super,
fair,
super
no
high.
one going to that dinner party was counting on the cult to the dark gods showing up. So
and being absolutely hit with what is it called? Something weed.
something weed.
They
Also-
are so high.
Wireweed. Yeah, they didn't know there was wireweed being grown on the grounds.
Not that I'm experienced in any sense of the word, but from what I hear, you don't have to be on a first name basis to attend a sex party.
Well, True.
It does feel like being on a first name basis would in fact limit your options for a sex party.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people I know on a first name basis who I would not in fact want to invite to my sex
It's maybe
party.
a little bit weird
Yeah,
if like an
yeah.
academic and I don't know, like a cult priest are also invited and at the table with you. Like I don't know. I don't know.
There
Anyway.
was sketchy stuff going on at the
Oh, they
that
were
was at the
all-
Talgarth Manor, right?
Yes.
Sketchy stuff going on at the Talgarth.
I still can't tell what the hell is his actual name. The Honorable Rag, who is the son of the local bigwig family or
Rolled. Is he
whatever.
Rolled?
Huh?
Yeah, his Roald, is that his name?
Yes, Roald. But they keep somebody nicknames him the Honorable Rag because his name
Yes.
is Ragnar. So
Yeah.
they just call him that all the time. I still
Because
don't
he's
know.
the heir to the Ragnar barony, which is where
Is
we are.
he a good guy or not? Or is
Well,
he
that's
just
a
part
good
of it?
question.
Is he just
He's-
part of his own like boys magic cult thing that hands out rings?
We are very slowly learning things about him, but he's getting more
Rings
and
to
more
what?
mysterious as opposed to less and less.
I thought he was gonna be a villain, and then he turns around in one scene and is like, "Hell yeah, I'm gonna help you do whatever." Like, okay, I guess he
But
wasn't part of the
rings to
weird
what?
cult.
You can't just drop in a dinner party that might lead to an orgy and then tell me that this guy is also handing out mysterious rings without telling me for
Well,
what
Gemmis
purpose.
gets his mysterious ring from a card game, and it stops
is
the sneezing.
Is it the same ring though? Because there's a ring from the pie, there's a ring that was on the Honorable
I
Rag's finger, and then
It's
there's
been
another
too
ring that's
long
on the
since
card
I
game.
read this book. I don't remember.
My theory is that there's more than one ring because I don't think that this one ring is popping around. I think it's part of another.
No, yeah,
Boys
the
Club magic
rings
cult.
signify membership in the secret society.
Yeah.
Huh. Shout out
that
in the
Gemmis
chat
has
if
been unintentionally or possibly like forcibly invited to by giving him a ring that he
Uh-huh.
doesn't know what it means.
And who is the mysterious stranger who dares him to play cards and he ends up with a ring?
That's a dang good question. We don't know yet.
and
Even
you've
after
read
3
4
months.
books.
I've read 3 books in this particular series.
Huh.
And we have no further information about the mermaid character after 2 more books. So
I kinda
There's
figured that
also a
one wasn't
mermaid
gonna be
character.
followed up on. Weren't they gonna cart her off somewhere to go see if they could uncurse
they were,
her?
but I am still expecting her to come back at some point because you don't drop that in the middle of book 1 and then have it never be relevant again, do you?
I mean, she
Chekhov's
played her
mermaid?
part. She got her sneaking around in rivers and listening in on people thing. But anyway, I think it would be nice to bring her back, but I'm not sure if she would be as good if she was unmermaidified.
Unmermaided.
There's also a local bookstore owner who is a very proper sort of middle-aged lady, but
Oh,
she's
absolutely more than she seems.
she is so much more than I think anyone thinks she is. Even her
Oh, yeah.
husband, who is like the local constable. I don't think she knows.
Gemmis has some suspicions about her. at
Yeah,
the
but
point.
if you want to know who's really got an idea of what's going on here, you need to talk to her. There's some
Yeah.
cozy bookstore vibes as well. Sword fights. Yeah.
Book 2 has bees, and book 2 has a dragon with riddles, and book 2 has a very important cake competition.
If there are bees in bee sting cake, I would like to know, is Gemmis allergic to them?
No. They're his family's magic bees, his mother's family's magic bees.
Oh, well, then he probably isn't allergic to them. Okay.
He's decidedly magically connected to them.
So they're not going to bother him. He'll just sneeze and everything else, unless he kept the ring. Anyway,
He's not sneezing because of allergies.
no.
Just to be clear.
Yeah. When I say allergic to the bees, I mean like, magic. Anyway.
You do learn what's giving him the sneezing by the end of book 3. You have
have a
3
deep
books of this
suspicion after
protagonist
this one.
sneezing wildly before you finally figure
Yeah, I felt for this guy. Having gone through my teenage years with completely unmedicated hay fever and like not being able to do anything without a box of Kleenex by me, I was like, this hits a little bit too close. Anyway. So that was a really fun book. I also finished Slow Gods by Claire North, which I was almost done with last time. This is a slow meditative science fiction novel about a mysterious person who, due to terrible events, ends up a bit translated by space. Weird things happen. He's really good at basically FTL, like jumping ships through the deep black of space or whatever. But he's also kind of immortal, and he shifts to fulfill other people's expectations of him. So like he's basically unkillable unless you really, really believe that he's dead. But once you stop thinking about whether he's dead or not, he will come back.
Huh.
Slowly. If you think that he's a monster, he will start to become monstrous. If you think he's just an ordinary person, then you may never know that he's not an ordinary person. So he lives for a very, very long time, and he's occasionally called upon to do some difficult navigation by people who really want his skills, but are also terrified of him becoming a monster and, I don't know, eating them. There's also an entire plot about a whole space empire based on terrible feudalistic capitalism and a whole system of indenturing the entire empire one by one, and it's all a meritocracy, except that it's really not. It's hell, and they're all slaves. And will there finally be a successful revolution? And oh yes, a star has gone supernova, and a bunch of people are warned in advance so they can evacuate their planets, but some people do and some people don't, and it's sad. Anyway, it's very meditative upon this very long series of events, most of it stemming from the star going supernova and how the main character is I think it's like he becomes very close to a person from that culture and kind of internalizes more of their culture, and that's very influential in how they deal with subsequent events as well. So I very much enjoyed this. It was very good on audiobook. I think it being such a monologue, if you will, it worked as an audiobook. So I liked it. It wasn't like as hard sci-fi as I kind of expected it to be, but it's a book by Claire North. And I feel like if you read, oh my gosh, what was her book that was really, really big?
The
15
15 Lives of Henry August.
Yes, which is the only other thing by her that I have also read, I believe. If you read that and were like, the vibes here like that, but just map it onto an epic sci-fi story, it's kind of that. It's kind of that. So I think it actually has some really interesting things to say about it's discussions of different political systems, the economic system, about how a society serves its people or not. And how the expectations of other people and one society shapes how a person behaves, how they see themselves, how they transform themselves or whatever. It was very interesting. And I felt maybe because of, it being published late last year or whatever, knowing when it was probably written, I read into it some commentary on current events, which was very pointed, I think. So yeah, it was interesting, and I'm glad I finally read something else by Claire North, because I've never been sure if I'd really bounce off of any of her other stuff, but this is her first like proper sci-fi novel, and I'm very glad that I gave it a chance. So the last thing that I read really quickly was The Daughter Who Remains by Nnedi Okorafor. This is the third and final novella in the She Who Knows series. which is sort of her Afrofuturist fantasy sci-fi series about the mother of the main character of Wose. Sorry, the main character of Who Fears Death. Her name means Who Fears Death. This is a series that I was kind of leery of reading. I tend to read everything by Nnedi Okorafor that she publishes now. Just I'm a completionist and I like a lot of her stuff. But if you've read Who Fears Death and you know the big instigating event of that story is a really, really horrific rape. And that has always been really emotionally hard for me to get over, both with reading Who Fears Death. I think that really colored my, honestly, enjoyment of that story, especially at the time that I read it when I was younger. And the idea of reading a series that focuses so much on that character and her life before and after that event, I thought it would really bother me. The story actually is about so much more than that, and I'm really glad that I read it, and glad that I read it after Who Fears Death. You need to read Who Fears Death first to understand, I think, anything about the real importance of the major event happening in the She Who Knows series. But it was definitely worth reading, and I feel like brought together, these three novellas could have been one novel. I don't exactly understand the choice to publish them in 3 separate volumes. I don't know. They're pretty. They have really pretty covers. I'm not going to complain about that, but I would read them all 3 together. It's all one story essentially. And as a whole, I felt like it was probably the strongest thing I've read by Okorafor in terms of storytelling and ideas and the character's story arc, just everything that you learn and how she changes up the story. It was really, really good with Okorafor's pretty much signature style at this point. So yeah, I really liked that. You don't know that you need more books after Who Fears Death. This is true. It's also not a continuation of that particular character's journey. So yeah. So that's what I read.
Rhea, did you want to go next?
Sure. So first of all, I finished a few things. I might talk about the one thing that I'm reading currently, which is Rest is Resistance by Tricia Hersey. So I found out about this book through a video essay by Rowan Ellis, where she talks about the myth of laziness, which was a really good video. And this book basically opens with a very cool thesis statement, essentially, that is the core tenet of the entire book. Is basically, your body is a site of liberation. It doesn't belong to capitalism. Love your body, rest your body, move your body, hold your body. So it is the idea of essentially purposefully planning out your life and your days in a way where you can rest, and you actually use rest as a spiritual practice to resist the grind of capitalism and grind culture. I will also say that Tricia Hersey is a Black woman and specifically advocates for Black people and people of color, and a lot of her practice is based in Black spirituality and the teachings of the Black Church. So I am fully reading this knowing that I am not the target demographic of this book, nor do I have to be, but I think that it is a very interesting discussion on who is allowed rest and who is essentially used up by capitalist systems, and how essentially all of us, no matter what our role is in working culture, are essentially being used as fuel for the machine and essentially worked until we burn out, essentially. From a neurodivergent perspective, I'm essentially like having gone through multiple like micro burnouts in my life, so that it is very interesting from that point as well. So yeah, it's really interesting. It talks about rest as reparation. So if you are interested in, for example, the history of the civil rights movement, the history of enslaved people in Americas, this is also very interesting in that context as well, because it ties the current state of capitalism, grind culture, and hustle culture, and the treatment of Black folks into the historical context as well, and how all of these current systems are in place because of the slavery system that United States was essentially built around. So very cool. It has some really practical tips on like how you can prioritize rest in your life, and like how to kind of essentially like take moments of your day where you purposefully are like, okay, I'm taking a break from work and I'm having guilt and shame-free rest. So that's been pretty cool. And then I finished Doppelganger by Naomi Klein, and it was really good. There, like it gave me some food for thought, because it's like essentially talks about how a lot of like the stuff that the left, whatever we mean when we talk about the left, but essentially the left side of politics, like socialists and stuff, the talking points that we use and the concerns that we have, how they get appropriated by the right, and how essentially the right catches on to like true statements and true concerns that people have, and then twists them into kind of these shadow alternative versions, like twisted versions of the original concern. So like, for example, people who are concerned about like pharmaceutical companies having like controlling what gets put into our bodies, how that gets exploited in like in turn by anti-vaxxers and all of that kind of stuff. And similarly, how like specifically it talks about like, for example, Palestine as a kind of and Israel as a kind of shadow twisted version of like there's a specific context of what Jewishness used to mean and what it now means with like the context of like Israel committing genocide in Palestine. So it's a really interesting book about in terms of like that it makes you think about all the ways where like we have not been able to reach common ground with people, but for some reason the right manages to kind of leach into our side of the aisle and kind of like twist the talking points in such a way that they gain common ground with people who would not necessarily consider themselves right wing. So really fascinating read, and especially the last chapters about climate change gave me some anxiety, because like that was not fun. And then on a similar, I read some Finnish fiction. I read the book Isäni auringonkukkien maasta, which is My Father from the Land of Orange Blossoms by Irene Tsidan, who is Finnish author of Palestinian descent. So her father is Palestinian. And this was her debut novel, where she wrote about essentially a kind of semi-autobiographical, but like fully fictional version. So she pulls from her own experiences, but it is like fully fictionalized. And she talks about specifically in the Finnish context of this half Palestinian, half Finnish girl growing up and how she is othered in the Finnish culture. She is not viewed as fully Finnish, but she's not also viewed as like a Palestinian. So like there's this like in-betweenness of like where she belongs, and then her trying to connect with her father's heritage, especially after the events of October 7th, where she gets embroiled in having to, as a journalist, having to report on the genocide. So it was a really fantastic book, and also very like the way she described growing up in the 90s and the 90s context, like because like I'm of the same age range, like was really relatable, and also somehow like really hard to read about, considering like specifically the microaggressions and also macroaggressions that she faces in the like the main character faces in the book, where I've known friends from high school and such who have had to go through similar things. And that is and how that is also very much not talked about in Finnish society, because like people do not want to acknowledge their racism. So I think in that sense it's also very good that this book was published, because it like really shines a light on it. And then the final thing that I finished was Witch Hat Atelier volume 14. This was once again an excellent entry, but I will say I will be very happy when the leech is defeated. I'm starting to get a little
Feel like we've been on that storyline
Yeah,
for a surprising amount of time.
yeah, I feel like I'm starting to get over the leech, and I will leave it at that. But I otherwise, like this was a great volume. Like I have no bad things to say about Witch Hat Atelier at this point. I feel like each volume just keeps building on top of the next, and it's like really good. So yeah, that's basically all that I have been reading. Lots of like kind of reflective stuff, depressing nonfiction, and some depressing fiction. And then the light at the end of the tunnel, that was Witch Hat Atelier, which also had some dark moments in it. So it's been an emotional roller coaster, to say the least, when it comes to my reading.
I feel like you and I have become depressing nonfiction buddies recently.
Yeah, I feel like there's like no in between. Either it's like super depressing nonfiction, or it's like, oh, like here's some cozy stuff that I've been trying to read.
Yeah, I've also been reading a lot of depressing nonfiction, but I did read a very fun book. It's the only book I ended up finishing for the Transwrite Readathon, which was kind of not, my reading has kind of been all over the map, but I did read Hamajang Luck by Akana Yamamoto. This is a queer Hawaiian sci-fi book that's a heist. And we're following our main character, Edie, where they've just gotten out of prison because their ex-partner Angel set them up to take the fall for something. And they come out of prison early, and it turns out Angel's the one who got them out, and also Angel has a job proposition for them. And Edie doesn't want to initially do it because they like want to go straight for their sister and nieces and nephews, but they get sucked back in for one last job. So it's very like Ocean's 8. I really enjoyed this. I listened to the audiobook, which is excellent. This is the Illumicrate version, which they didn't do the sequel, and I'm really mad about it because this is like the only trans book they have done for a very long time. Like trans.
There's a sequel?
There's this. Is it out? What?
Yeah, it's called the Obake Code. It just.
Oh, that's right.
So it's following a different character. So like this one, I haven't read the Obake Code yet, but this one like stands alone really well. Like pretty much everything gets wrapped up.
Mhm.
But yeah, I had a really fun time with this. I would definitely recommend it if you're looking for like fun sci-fi heist times.
I enjoyed it. I think I have the audiobook, like the audiobook arc somewhere, so I need to get on that. I'd completely forgotten that it was by that author.
Yeah. And then out of the stuff I finished was a lot of depressing nonfiction. So let's see, going in order of when I finished. So I read The Deserving, What the Lives of the Condemned Reveal About American Justice by Elizabeth Farkezian. So Elizabeth Farkezian is a criminal mitigation specialist. So what this means is she does a lot of talking with people who've been criminally charged or people who've been convicted. Hermes!
He's just a black void. I thought he was a pillow at first.
He's a black hole.
He's a
Hi,
black
sweetie.
pillow.
Baby.
You can see
Steven,
Ava back here too now. She's just been sitting there staring at me for like 30 minutes.
Wally is sitting literally right here.
My children are just napping next to me.
Okay, I'm
Sunshine's
gonna
on top of her cat tree. You saw her earlier.
move my camera and show you Wally, but everybody here has to promise not to judge me for the fact that my room is messy. You might not even be able to see it, but
No.
Aw,
Oh my god, so cute.
she's so fluffy.
So
Can I ask? I've never asked you because it feels like one of those embarrassing things I should already know. Is Wally's name spelled like the name Wally or like the Pixar robot Wally?
oh no,
Or some other third
Wally's
option?
Wally is Wolly because she is a girl and she is named after Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley.
Ah.
But I like confused the vet real bad when the like
Because I knew she was a girl, but
Yeah.
I assumed you could give a girl cat any name you want.
oh, you can absolutely give a girl cat any name you want. Her name is Wally after Wollstonecraft
Okay.
because both Mary Wollstonecraft and Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley.
Okay.
So.
So a third option, not either of the two I was thinking of.
Yes.
So we've had the royal straight flush of all pets showing in this stream.
Yeah.
But back to your
Yeah,
depressing
so,
nonfiction.
Yeah, so she's a criminal mitigation specialist. So her job is to essentially tell the person's story and look at social and environmental reasons why a person might have committed a crime. And then also one of the things she does is try and make sure that her clients don't get the death penalty, and also is a big advocate for eliminating life without parole as a sentence, because one of like her core tenets is that it does count as cruel and unusual punishment, and that it really removes any chance of change and rehabilitation. So it was a very good, very moving read. One of the things that she chose to do for the most part was focus on people that she's worked with who did commit the crimes. Like, because it's very similar to Just Mercy in that it's arguing that the death penalty, particularly in the American context, is indefensible and serves nothing but to be cruel. But whereas Just Mercy was really focused on people who've been wrongfully convicted, and Brian Steve and his journey working with the Innocence Project, she focuses again on people who have committed these crimes, sometimes very horrific crimes, but also talking about, you know, they grew up in poverty. They grew up with systems that were designed to fail them and designed to keep them oppressed. And it was like I said, it was a very good book. I think if you're interested in learning more about, like, I wouldn't say this is abolitionist, like purely abolitionist, but it is very focused on restorative justice and focused on how can we create systems where people aren't falling through the cracks, where people get the support that they need so that they don't end up in these situations. Then it's definitely a book to check out. It's not very long. It's like 250 pages. But it's definitely one I would recommend people
Say the
read.
name again.
Actually, hold on. I forgot I have a physical copy because I put a hold on my physical copy at my library, but then ended up getting the audiobook. It's The Deserving, What the Lives of the Condemned Reveal About American Justice.
Got it.
So I read that, and then the next nonfiction was American Midnight: The Great War, A Violent Peace and Democracy's Forgotten Crisis by Adam Hochschild. So this was because, like, I was in the mood for nonfiction. None of my holds had come in, and I was browsing what was available on Libby, and I saw that, and I read King Leopold's Ghost like a decade and a half ago, and I remember enjoying it. And I saw this one and be like, I don't actually know a whole lot about like World War I to like immediately post World War I in US history. And the premise sounds interesting. So I checked it out and I, again, really enjoyed it. So this is a book that focuses on the period of like 1917 to 1922-ish. And it's about, yes, the US entering into World War I, but also the various domestic crises that happened around that time. So you have the repression of the socialist movement and labor in the United States by President Woodrow Wilson and his cabinet, specifically his postmaster general and his attorney general. You have discussions on race and racial and like the white racist backlash against African Americans and Woodrow Wilson's efforts to resegregate the federal workforce. You have gender politics and, women fighting for the right to vote, but then also kind of talking about their role in labor movements and how they were seen as like not being proper women. And again, talking about the entry into World War I and the aftermath of it. And one thing I really appreciated is the book did not let you forget that Woodrow Wilson was the fucking worst. Like he gets white. Everyone's like, oh, the League of Nations, his 14 points. And it's like, no, he is the reason we have the Sedition Act. He tried to limit the First Amendment. He was a big ol' racist.
Ugh.
So, and like I said, it's definitely worth reading if you want to learn more. And one of the things I also appreciated that Hochschild did was drawing parallels to what we were seeing. Because this came out in like 2022. So drawing parallels not only to Trump's first term, but also what we were seeing in kind of the immediate post-COVID aftermath, especially in terms of hostility towards immigration. So again, depressing, but very worthwhile read in terms of learning more about like that specific time in history. And then also, again, drawing those parallels. I reread Challenger, A True Story of Heroism and Disaster on the Edge of Space by Adam Higginbotham, because I was feeling a little too romantic about NASA, because I reread this during the Artemis II mission, and I needed to be reminded that you should not romanticize NASA. So this, just quick summary, this is a book that came out in 2024. This is mostly about the lead up to the Challenger disaster in 1986 and how it wasn't like an isolated event, but kind of talking about how NASA had, even going back to the Apollo missions, like cut corners and also emphasize like seeing space travel as commonplace and everyday, and that there's no real risk involved, and how that those series of missteps led to the Challenger explosion. One thing I will say is that this book does buy into the myth of Richard Feynman a little too much. So I really recommend you watch Angela Collier's excellent video on the myth of Richard Feynman, and to understand why, like, when I got to the section about the Challenger investigation, I'm like, sir.
Is that on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. She's a physicist and she has a lot of really excellent videos. That one is very long. It's like over 2 hours. But yeah, one thing I need to double check, but I also don't think that the book mentioned Diane Vaughan and her normalization of deviance theory, which basically means like, instead of seeing like, oh, the O-rings are having failures, instead of like really investigating and looking into like why something is failing, being like, well, it hasn't failed yet, and kind of normalizing all of these problems. I will say the CNN documentary on the Shuttle Columbia disaster did talk about the normalization of deviance, so that it got a point for me. And then I was lucky enough to get audiobooks for these new releases pretty quickly. So Like, Follow, Subscribe, Influencer Kids and the Cost of a Childhood Online by Fortessa Latifi. So Fortessa Latifi is a journalist who's written a lot about child influencers and family vloggers. She did an interview with Sherry Frankie when her book came out. So she's the eldest daughter of Ruby Frankie. And so this is again, it's not a super long book, but it's basically like the culmination of her pieces. And she looks into not only like why people will become family vloggers and like the financial incentives and like what gets the most views and gets the most money, but also looks into why do we watch family vlogs. And she uses her experiences as a new mom to kind of talk about, you know, feeling alone and feeling isolated. And even though some of these family vlogs are like very sanitized and like perfection, sometimes it's like, it's good not to feel alone in that your baby's going through sleep regression and that there are other people who are having some of the same struggles as you. And she also talks about the impact of family vlogs on the children and kind of how that changes the relationships between parents and child, but then also kind of how the children view themselves and how they react to things. So she interviews the former nanny of a family of some family influencers, and she talks about how like the child didn't know how to react, like he wasn't being filmed.
Ugh.
Or a lot of children of family vloggers will be like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber and make a lot of money. And so like that kind of narrows their focus. And then she talks to one child. She's like, I just stopped sharing things with my mom because I know as soon as I share something with her, it will be online. And then the last part of the book, she talks about like the current legislative efforts to try and regulate family vlogging. And she talks about why she doesn't necessarily think it's going to work, because how they calculate income is really convoluted and it doesn't really address the system. So it doesn't address like TikTok and Meta and YouTube, like pushing that content. And I thought that was a really interesting note to end on, because we keep hearing like, oh, Utah is trying to regulate family vloggers, Tennessee is trying to regulate family vloggers. And her question is will this actually work, or will this just create more cracks for kids to fall through?
Related to that, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Piper Roquel situation. Netflix did documentary
she talks about that because she did an interview with the kid.
Yeah, because like it's very interesting. I just watched oh, Bree, are you leaving?
Oh,
do you have to leave?
All right.
We've been going for 2 hours already. Wow.
That's what
Well-
happens when we have the full complement. We kind of go along with it. Bye, Bree.
Bye.
But essentially, like another interesting aspect of those is like you have the family vloggers, but the pressure that is also put on kids where they are the breadwinner for the entire family, and that has also happened in like child acting scene, like the Culkins and like obviously Britney Spears also and stuff. So this is like just like another iteration of like how like the child star exploitation.
Yeah, and she talks about how with like child acting, it's easier to regulate because it's happening like on sets. There's so many more people involved, and like even then, there's still abuse that can happen. But with family vloggers, it's much more isolated.
Yeah.
And then the last one I finished was the new Patrick Radden Keefe, London Following a Mysterious Death in a Gilded City and a Family's Search for the Truth. So this is an expansion of an article that he published a couple of years ago about this young man who in London who fell to his death from a luxury London high rise, and how his family found out he had been lying to people about his background, about his wealth, and how there's potentially foul play, but no one knows. And so, like I said, this is an expansion of the article, and this is probably my least favorite thing by Patrick Radden Keefe that I've read. Like, it's not bad. Like, I wouldn't say it's a bad book, but it's definitely like a 3.75. And I think it's because part of it is having read the article, there wasn't much in terms of, there wasn't a lot of new things for me. And that was weird.
Did you all just hear Sunshine's automatic feeder?
That was
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's Sunshine getting her 4 o'clock kibbles.
Yeah, so it goes a lot into like the criminal and financial history of London, Russian oligarchs, how because Margaret Thatcher's the worst. Margaret Thatcher kind of created the environment of financial deregulation in the city of London. And yeah, like I wouldn't, like I said, it's not a bad book, but it's definitely one, like compared to Say Nothing and Empire of Pain, it's much more forgettable to me. It's not one I think I would revisit.
I have nothing good to say about Thatcher.
Does anybody have anything good to say about Thatcher that we would listen to them?
Unfortunately, very, very many people who view her as their like political role model.
Yeah, we're Behind the Bastards, a podcast I listen to, is doing a series on Jimmy Savile, and Robert Evans has previewed the big role that Margaret Thatcher is going to be playing in some of the later episodes.
Wait, isn't Jimmy Savile the guy with a big like sexual assault history thing?
Yeah, so
never dealt
Behind the
with it?
Bastards is a podcast about the worst people in history. And he is apparently the #1 most requested bastard by UK listeners.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
There was it the 28 years later like movie? There's a character in that movie who basically is based on Jimmy Savile. People were not like understanding the significance of that kind of symbolism of having that character essentially kind of cosplay Jimmy Savile in the context of that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan are burning in hell together.
I wish.
I choose to believe. But yeah, and then in terms of what I'm in the middle of, I'm like, I started Metal from Heaven for the Transrite Readathon. I'm about halfway in, and I'm enjoying it. I do need to finish it, but I got sidetracked because I have to do some magical readathon stuff. So that's going to be what I work on for the end of the month. But I am hoping to finish Metal from Heaven this month.
Metal from Heaven was really good. I really liked it. And
this is one I'm reading it, and because this came out in 2024, I believe. This is one where reading it, I am once again deeply annoyed at the quality of last year's Hugo shortlist.
I will say that, like, especially like after having like I read Metal from Heaven straight after having read like a bunch of like super anti-capitalist nonfiction, and then I was like, I need to read some fiction to like I need to read some nice fantasy to cleanse me of the depressing nonfiction, and then
I will say the thing
Metal
that is
from
cracking me up is the blurb from Megan Whalen Turner, and not because it's bad, but because I associate her with her YA series, the Queen's Thief series, and so it's like, Megan Whalen Turner, what are you doing here? Because like all the other people who gave blurbs for this book are like Annalee Newitz, Sarah Gailey, Rebecca Rowanhorse, Nino Cipri, MX Liu, and then it's like Megan Whalen Turner.
I have
Like,
not
one of
read
these
the
things
Queen's
is not
Thief.
like the other. Not that I'm complaining. But yeah, that's kind of it for me.
And we've already talked about media as well.
Did we want to do Hugo predictions, or have we run out of time?
We could probably do like a really quick one.
Doing rapid fire. I need to hop off here.
Because
shortly.
I was kind of thinking of doing my own, like.
Yeah, I mean, you can do your, like, we are running over, so I'm fine with leaving it. But speaking of Hugos, we haven't finalized where it will be yet or what time, but we are tentatively planning to have a Hugo reaction live stream on Tuesday after the nominations are announced. So we will put that information on social media.
Once we figure it out, very short notice.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We are sure to have opinions, both good and bad.
As always.
All right, do you want to tell folks where they can find you?
I am active on my YouTube channel, The Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I posted a video on Friday. It's an unhaul. I have more videos to film. I'm up and rolling.
Yeah, go support Kelsey's channel. She is doing amazing work as always. As she has always.
My channel is 10 years old and still chugging along. It's a little slower than it was at the beginning, but it's still going.
A little slower than it was in the beginning because we're all older.
I was gonna say. Wish I had that much energy still.
I know. Between full-time work and full-time school, I'm wondering where I get the energy to just live.
Yeah, I want to make my Hugo predictions a short form video. If I can get it under 3 minutes, it'll be on YouTube Shorts. We'll see.
All right, Rachel.
Well, you can find me here in the Stitch and Bitch live shows. Let's say my channel, but I'm really not active on my channel or on Instagram anymore. So you want to see me? Come to the next live show.
Which is next month when we're on Rachel's channel, I think.
Oh, that's convenient.
Because our rotation starts again anew.
Yeah.
Rhea?
Same. You can find me on the Stitch and Bitch live shows wherever they are held, and 3 times a year on my channel when they are held. And otherwise, I am struggling to finish my master's program.
You can do it. We believe.
I can do it.
You can do it.
And once
Graduation.
and once you're done, we can like on that Stitch and Bitch, we can like have champagne or sparkling
Yes,
cider and
we
toast
shall.
you.
My goal is the fall semester of next year. All right. Thank you.
And you can find me mostly on Stitch and Bitch here at my channel, Bookish Die. I am on Blue Sky, and since our WNBA season is starting up, expect some semi-unhinged skeets about that. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we will potentially see you on Tuesday for our Hugo reactions.
Woohoo.
Bye.
See you. Bye bye.